It's another episode of Dropping Knowledge, BodyMore Bottles with your host, Fonzarelli, aka Micro Brew McIntyre, aka the Bourbon Brawler, aka Von Van Dam, the whole drunken show. And like I said at the top, it's another episode of Dropping Knowledge. So the last episode of Dropping Knowledge I did, it was about single barrels. And the truth about it, how I told y'all about you hear the words single barrel, you think this bottle, it's usually whiskey. I mean, they do have single barrel tequilas. If you want one of those, you're gonna have to go on. The only place I know to find a single barrel tequila is go on tasteselectrepeat.com. But usually you go in the store, you can see a bourbon or with different type of whiskey single barrel. You think single barrel, you're gonna think, oh, this bottle came from one barrel instead of being blended or mixed or a bunch of different barrels put together to make a more uniform taste. You know, like when you get something like a Jack Daniels or a Buffalo Trace or Evan Williams, like a flagship is no matter where you go and get that bottle from, you know, you're going to get that same uniform taste because they have a certain recipe or a mash bill, and they get different barrels from different places, mix them together to give you that same uniform taste. Because even if you use the same mash bill and or recipe and you put it in a barrel, depending on where they put that barrel in the rick house where they store their barrels, or depending on the time of year that it's made, or even the barrel that it's in, it might come out tasting different. So they get different barrels from different places, different stuff like that, mix it together or blend it, and that's how they get that uniform taste. But when you get a single barrel whiskey, it's just one barrel, and it's all the whiskey from that one barrel. They might cut it down to lower the proof or whatever, but you know this whiskey came from one barrel. It hasn't been tampered with as far as being blended or mixed. And I told y'all that it's no legal definition of single barrel. So even though it says single barrel, they might have took it from one barrel and put it in another barrel, and that barrel may have had something left over in it from before, and then they might have put that in a different barrel and still called it single barrel, because once they poured it out the last barrel, it's a single barrel still. So I mean, it's a lot of different things they can do to and still throw single barrel on top on the label, but it's not really still a single barrel because you took it from one barrel, added it to another barrel, which had something in it, maybe, or maybe they put some additives in that barrel. Maybe they put water in it to cut it down. You know, it's a lot of different ways that they can play with that and still put single barrel on it. And also, like I said, it's not no legal definition of single barrel. So they could be blending stuff together in that single barrel. It could be one whiskey, one mash bill from over here, one mash bill from over there, one mash bill from over here. It could be Cinderella slipper, you know. It could just be actually a single barrel. It could be his shit mixed with his shit mixed with their shit. While this is Cinderella slipper, it's just straight in the barrel and sat and aged. You never know what you're getting with single barrel nowadays. If you do want a true single barrel, I suggest y'all go, like I said, to the good folks over at Taste Select Repeat and get you, because they actually go to the distillery, they try different barrels, and they pick one, and that's what they give you. Now, today we're going to talk about two things today. We're going to talk about one, small batch, and two, we're going to talk about barrel proof. So, small batch. you hear small batch. If I hear small batch, I'm thinking, okay, it's a couple barrels that we get. We're gonna blend these couple barrels up. We're gonna put that out. It's a small batch, maybe 5, 10, depending. You never know, but something small. Like it's not going to be a single barrel, but at the same time, it's not going to be our flagship blend. It's just a small batch. We blended these barrels together. It wasn't our flagship, and we can't call it a single barrel, but it still tasted good. So we're going to put this out. It's a small batch. Cool. The thing with small batch is, depending on the distillery, your small batch, like I said, it might be 5 barrels, it might be 10 barrels, it might be 20 barrels. Or it could be a bigger distillery and it could be 500 barrels. Just a little sample from 500 barrels. It could be 1,000 barrels. It could be 5,000 barrels. And we can call it a small batch because just like single barrel, it's no legal description on what a small batch needs to be defined by. And I think that's a problem because it's smaller distilleries out here. They small batch might be 2 barrels. They small batch might be 13 barrels. They small batch might be 20 barrels. You know? Then there's larger distilleries whose small batch might be 100 barrels. So you have all these barrels in your big, you might have 4 or 5 rick houses that they housing barrels in. Some of their barrels might be 30 years old. Some of their barrels might be 15 years old. Some of their barrels might be 10 years old. We got other smaller distilleries who barrels might be 4 years old. Their barrels might be 2 years old. Their barrels might be 5 years old. They might be getting their barrels from MGP. They might be sourcing their whiskey. And when they get it, they're making blends. So it might be a 3-year, it might be a 5-year, it might be a 1 year, it might be a 2-year. So it's kind of I don't really want to say an unfair advantage, but it's an advantage to the larger distilleries because they have more barrels to pick from. And they can use more barrels to make their small batch, which may be a larger quantity of barrels that they picked from than a smaller distillery. So you got to be careful with when you're looking for when you get a small batch, because it might say small batch, but it might be from enough barrels to be the same as their flagship bottle. Like if you, I don't think Jim Beam has a small batch, but let's say you get a Jim Beam small batch. It might be the same as a regular Jim Beam because their distillery is so large that they have so many barrels to pick from, and they might pick from the same barrels. Their small batch might be picked from the same barrels that their flagship is picked from, and you have smaller distilleries who, excuse me, who put out a product and their flagship might be different from their small batch because they have enough barrels to make a small batch, mix them together, and say, oh, this tastes good. Let's put it out as a small batch. So small batches, just like single barrel, it's no legal description on what it needs to be, and you don't know what you're getting depending on which distillery. So that's why it's like you gotta read the labels. A lot of these labels, they don't have age statements, and that's cool. I got no problem with that. But when it comes to like single barrels or small batches, it should have a number description for which barrel it is or which batch it is. Like for example, Elijah Craig puts out a barrel proof every year, and they put out multiple ones throughout the year. So like they might describe one as A121. So that means A is their first one that they put out. A is the first letter of the alphabet. 1, they put it out in January. January is the first month of the year. 21, that's the year that they put it out. B522. B is the second one they put out this year. 5, the fifth month of the year. 22, that's 2022. So they put them out that way. It gives you a description of when it was put out, so you can go back and verify and taste different ones from that year, taste different ones from different years, and compare them to each other, so you know that it's not the same thing. Some companies might just put them out and no description on it, no age statement on it, no nothing. So you don't really know what you're getting. They might have just put it out this month, let's say, and it might taste the same as the one they put out 5 years ago, because it might be the same distillate, and they just getting over on us. So you got to be careful with that. And up next, like I just said, with Elijah Craig, they put out a barrel proof. Barrel proof also has no legal description on it. So it's when you hear barrel proof, you're thinking this is what came out the barrel. Maybe they filtered out the like the wood chips, like with this peach shine I got. Like I said, I got the little wood add that you throw in there, and it ages it a little bit, adds some flavor. If you look closer, you can see the little wood chippings in the bottom of it. The same thing happens when you put whiskey in a barrel. The whiskey goes in the barrel and it comes out the barrel. Sometimes because the barrel is charred, so sometimes those flakes come off the barrel and they end up in the whiskey. So what they do is they filter it and they get all that stuff out, which is why when you get a bottle of whiskey, it's empty. It's no wood in there, you know? It's got the color, but it doesn't have the wood in it. So when you hear barrel proof, you're thinking it comes straight out the barrel, filtered to get the wood shavings and stuff out of it, but it's barrel proof. It's the proof that it is in the barrel. But like I said, it's no legal description on it, so you don't know what they're doing to it in the barrel. So let's say in the barrel it's 125 proof. Who's to say that they don't? Because before we get to that, when you put whiskey in a barrel, you fill it up, you let it sit. It sits for 2 years, 4 years, 6 years, 8 years, 10 years, whatever. It's sitting in that barrel. But that barrel is wood. It's no glue on that barrel. It's nothing to seal that barrel. So sometimes, they probably wet it and dip it in water and all that, so the wood swells up, and all that type of stuff. But it's no glue or no sealant on that barrel. So sometimes whiskey drips out the barrel, and it's evaporation that happens because it goes through so many years. It goes through all the seasons. Sun shining on it sometimes. If it's a window right there, you never know where the barrel might be in a brick house. So it's evaporation that happens usually between 10, I think, and 30%. And they call it the angel share because it's like we put it in there, the angels came to get some of it. That's what it is. They call it the angel share. You lose the angel share. So let's say you got 25% of the barrel missing. Who's to say that these distilleries don't add water to the barrel and let it sit for a couple more months, or they just straight add water to the barrel and then dump it out. That's not barrel proof to me anymore, because if it was still barrel proof, you would just take that loss and dump it out. Some companies might do that. Some companies might not. They might add some water. They might add some flavoring. And not. That's a subject for another day that I was just about to talk about. But they might add something to it. They might not. They might add water. So you never know. They might dump it out, and then to stretch it, they might add water. So let's say they get a barrel, they dump it out, they get 150 bottles. They say we needed 300, and they cut it in half with water, and still put barrel proof on it, because it might have been, let's say it was 130 proof out the barrel. They cut it down now is, let's say they cut it down to 100 proof or 101.3 proof, something crazy, just to make you think that it's still barrel proof, because you're not going to test it to see if it's actually what proof they say it is. So it's certain things that you got to be careful with out here in the market, because some of these companies is playing dirty. But I'm on your ass, companies. I see what you're doing, and I'm going to let these people know. So if you're watching this show, make sure y'all be, like I always say, be safe out there, man. But stay dangerous. And in this case, staying dangerous is having the knowledge of what they're doing, so that when we go ahead and buy these bottles, we're not just blindly buying them, and we're not just thinking, oh, it's a barrel proof, it's a single barrel, it's a small batch. Yeah, we like your product, we gonna rock with you, but at the same time, we know what's going on behind the scenes. Y'all be safe, but stay dangerous, drink responsibly, and most importantly of all, buy them bottles. Peace.
Be professional.
We don't talk. We do what we do.
Y'all just talking street stuff.
We don't talk. We do.